What a happy morning. The risen Lord is with us, wanting to reveal himself to us. We desire that more than anything, because too often we go through life wishing he were nearer. Christ is always by our side, trying to make his presence felt. But too often, we're on the road to Emmaus, and to do not see him. May our eyes be open to the presence of our risen Lord. Let us pray. Eternal God, open our eyes that we might see a little of the Christ in each stranger we meet. Grant us the peace of mind and steadfastness of heart to live out our lives in devotion to the one who died and was raised again for our salvation. We ask that you continue to be with those that are suffering because of the coronavirus, those who are sick and those who have lost loved ones. Comfort and strengthen them. We pray for your church throughout the world as we continue to worship in new and different ways. Help us to realize that there is nothing more powerful than your love for all your children. In the crucifixion of Jesus, you have shown us that your love is alongside us even when we feel abandoned. Even if we go through the deepest darkness, we will not be afraid, Lord, for you are with us. We pray for those in the healthcare profession. Guide and protect them as they minister to the needs of persons who are ill and suffering. We pray as well for those helping provide our essentials, such as food, medicine, and needed transportation. We pray for the leaders of our nation and all the nations of the world. Give them the guidance, insight, and skills needed to conquer this silent and unseen enemy. During these difficult and uncertain times, give us patience. Save our minds from despair and our hearts from fear, and guide us with your peace. Almighty God, in the vastness of your creation, you know the paths that we walk daily. And on these paths, your risen Son comes to walk with us. Give us clear vision, open hearts, and understanding minds, that we may know our risen Lord is with us. In the name of the risen Lord who taught us to pray, say, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
Go.
Our gospel reading for today is from Luke, the Gospel of Luke, the 24th chapter, beginning with the 13th verse. That very day, two of them were going to a village named Emmaus, about 7 miles from Jerusalem, and talking with each other about all these things that had happened. While they were talking and discussing together, Jesus himself drew near and went with them. But their eyes were kept from recognizing him. And he said to them, What is this conversation which you are holding with each other as you walk? And they stood still, looking sad. Then one of them, named Cleophas, answered him, Are you the only visitor to Jerusalem who does not know the things that have happened in these days? And he said to them, What things? And they said to him, Concerning Jesus of Nazareth, who was a prophet, mighty in deed and word before God and all the people, and how our chief priests and rulers delivered him up to be condemned to death and crucified him. But we had hoped that he was the one to redeem Israel. Yes, and besides all this, it is now the 3rd day since this happened. Moreover, some women of our company amazed us. They were at the tomb early in the morning and did not find his body. And they came back saying that they had seen a vision of angels who said that he was alive. Some of those who were with us went to the tomb and found it just as the women had said, but him they did not see. And he said to them, O foolish men, and slow of heart to believe all that the prophets have spoken? Was it not necessary that the Christ should suffer these things and enter into his glory? And beginning with Moses and all the prophets, he interpreted to them in all the scriptures the things concerning himself. So they drew near to the village to which they were going. He appeared to be going further, but they constrained him, saying, Stay with us, for it is toward evening, and the day is now far spent. So he went in to stay with them. When he was at table with them, he took the bread and blessed and broke it and gave it to them. And their eyes were opened, and they recognized him, and he vanished out of their sight. They said to each other, Did not our hearts burn within us while he talked to us on the road, while he opened to us the scriptures? And they rose that same hour and returned to Jerusalem. And they found the 11 gathered together, and those who were with them, who said, The Lord has risen indeed, and has appeared to Simon. Then they told what had happened on the road, and how he was known to them in the breaking of bread. Let us pray. Holy Spirit, speak to us as we speak and listen, that we may live for God the life that we ought to live. Through Christ our Lord. Amen. In the last half of John's Gospel, Jesus spends a lot of time in the upper room talking to his disciples, preparing them for what was to come, his death and his resurrection. He wants them to understand that no matter what happens, he will not abandon them. I will come to you, he tells them. You will see me, he promises. And because I live, you will know that I am in the Father, and you in me, and I in you. One of the great gifts we receive from God is the model of the Paschal mystery. We call it Paschal because it occurred in the Paschal, or Passover season. And the mystery is that profound truth about God, that he is always working through a process of death and resurrection in order that we may have greater lives always, through pain, through suffering, through death, into resurrection, into rebirth, into new life. And the life of Jesus gives us the supreme example of this, particularly in the last Paschal season of his life, when he moved through abandonment, betrayal, physical torture, pain and suffering, and finally death, into new life, into resurrection. And as a result, Jesus guaranteed his disciples in the upper room, as he guarantees us now as we worship, I am with you. Can you grasp the significance of this reality for your own life? The living Christ within you now is eager for you to move through the Paschal mystery of your life. Christ is eager for you to make a connection with whatever you may be suffering in your life now, and the divine guarantee of redemption and new life. There was a Hindu named Shankara who taught his students that all suffering, pain, and evil were simply illusions. One day, the students decided to test their teacher's true belief on that subject. So they set a wild elephant loose in the garden where the teacher was strolling and meditating. When the teacher saw the wild elephant bearing down on him, he ran to the nearest tree and climbed up it as high as he could in order to avoid danger. Later, the students chased the wild elephant from the garden, and the teacher came down from the tree. Whereupon one of the students said, "Respectfully, sir, if suffering and evil are all illusions, why did you run from the wild elephant?" To which the teacher replied, "What elephant? We can play all kinds of tricks with our minds, but the wild elephant is the wild elephant. And Jesus enables us to face up to all those wild elephant experiences, secure in the knowledge, the faith knowledge, that we're not alone in these times of distress, that by the resurrection power of God, Jesus is with us, eager to offer us new life through our wild elephant experiences, even the coronavirus virus pandemic that we are now experiencing. In today's gospel lesson, two of Jesus' disciples are on their way to a village called Emmaus. And they're talking about everything that had happened on Good Friday. As they pondered the most terrible of wild elephant events, their faces were downcast, Luke tells us. Among other things, they surely were asking the question that we all ask in those times when our faces are downcast. Why? Why has this terrible thing happened to someone we love? Why do bad things happen to good people? Why all this pain and suffering? Why? Why? And no answer comes. And we will never get it in this life. Consequently, the gospel writers are telling us to change the question from why to how. The question of why comes up in one of Charlie Brown's comic strips. In it, there's a baseball game going on. Charlie Brown is on the pitcher's mound, and he's saying to his catcher, "We're getting slaughtered again, Schroeder. I don't know what to do. Why do I have to suffer like this?" Schroeder says, "Man is born to trouble as the sparks fly up." Charlie Brown says, "What?" Linus comes in from the outfield and says, he's quoting from the book of Job, Charlie Brown, 7th verse, 5th chapter. Then he says, "Actually, the problem of suffering is a very profound one, and by this time Lucy has come to the pitcher's mound from her outfield position, and she says, if a person has bad luck, it's because he's done something wrong. That's what I always say." Schroeder says, "That's what Job's friends told him, but I doubt it." Lucy interrupts, "What about Job's wife? I don't think she gets enough credit." Schroeder then says, "I think a person who never suffers never matures. Suffering is actually very important." Lucy says, "Who wants to suffer? Don't be ridiculous." Linus says, "A person who speaks only of the patience of Job reveals that he knows very little of the book." Now, the way I see it, Charlie Brown then cuts it all off. Looking very downcast, he says, "I don't have a baseball team. I have a theological seminary." Why? Why? That Charlie Brown comic strip touches almost every base in dealing with the question, going round and round, but getting nowhere. The hours we spend with that futile why are a waste of time, because the answer will not come. Job and his friends go round and round with that question through 37 long chapters, and they don't come up with an answer. A hospital chaplain has said that in the literature rack in the gift shop, the pamphlet that says why in big letters outsells the others 10 to 1. To avoid the futile exercise of going round and getting nowhere with the why question, change it. Don't ask why, ask how. How can I be present to Christ who is in this with me? How can I be open to the transforming resurrection power of God in this experience? At this point, the how then becomes a who. Who can I turn to? And we have our answer. No need to go round and round. Just say, Christ. In your suffering, in your pain, in your bereavement, in your loneliness, in your feeling of abandonment, in your struggle with temptation, put your trust in the God of love as revealed to you in and through the Lord Jesus Christ. Some of you may have read Hannah Green's I Never Promised You a Rose Garden. In the book, Deborah has a terrible emotional breakdown. After therapy and other healing situations, she begins to undergo change. And she has a dream. In the author's words, her dream began with winter darkness. Out of the darkness came a great hand, fisted. The fist opened, and in the palm lay 3 small blocks of coal. Slowly the hand closed, causing within the fist a tremendous pressure. The pressure began to generate a great white heat. Deborah seemed to feel the suffering of the cold with her own body, almost beyond the point of endurance. At last she cried out to the hand, "Stop it, stop it." After what seemed a long time, the torment in the fist relaxed. The fist turned and very slowly opened. Diamonds. 3 clear, brilliant diamonds lay in the palm. And a voice called to her and said gently, "Deborah, this will be you." The same voice is within you, enabling you to bear the pressure that is transforming the coal of your life into diamonds. This week you will undoubtedly be present to someone who is hurting, perhaps hurting very deeply. Perhaps you can be the voice that tells them about the who, the one whose living presence can transform coal into diamonds, darkness into light, despair into the hope of new life. Let us pray. Go forth in the name and peace of Jesus Christ. Walk the path of life with strangers and friends. Walk the path of life in the hope that you'll leave no one a stranger and everyone a friend of Jesus our Lord. Amen.